And welcome back to another live stream, benchmarking with Gizmo Slip Tech. We've got over 25 benchmarks for you today. We're gonna start with some synthetic ones and then move right into a huge series of game benchmarks. I've installed all of the games already at this point. We're gonna jump into Cinebench R23. We're going to do a single run and then we're gonna do an individual run. Everything should be up to date. The BIOS should be up to date. And I was also going to show you how to undervolt this sucker right at the beginning here. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick because, how to undervolt this thing is actually really simple. And I believe it's incredibly safe also because MSI has made it extremely limited. Like you can't over undervolt this sucker right now. So to start, you want to undervolt it. You got to press the power button, turn it off, press the power button, and then you want to hold F2. Maybe tap it as it's booting up. This should put you into the BIOS. So right now, especially is when you want to be pressing it. There we go. We are in the BIOS now. First thing you want to do once you get into the BIOS to undervolt, you go to the advanced mode in the bottom right. Then that opens up this new tab called advanced. And then you go down, I believe, is it voltage configuration? Yes. And then you go core voltage offset. You click enabled. And then you want to do a minus. And right here you see the most you can do is a minus 30. So we're going to do a minus 30. And we're just going to click save and exit. Save our changes. Boom. The CPU is now undervolted. The machine should restart. Hopefully we have no issues. I don't think we will. The i9 CPU, the 13980HX, so far in other laptop benchmarks of other users that have unlocked CPUs, I've seen big increases by increasing the undervolt to like 125 millivolt undervolts, or maybe I've even seen some as high as 225 millivolt undervolt, which is a huge undervolt. I would not expect most processors to be able to go that high in the undervolt, but that does significantly boost Cinebench R23 performance. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I'm going to be trying to do trying to see if the GT77 that I have coming in the mail, that just came in the mail last night, actually. I was messing with it last night. I'm going to see if I can set a record or at least get as close to the record as I can with the GT77. So know that right now we have a 30 millivolt undervolt for all of these benchmarks. Just right off the top, we're going to undervolt it because that's how every SCAR 18 owner should be running their laptop. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to do that. Unless you run into issues. I think over 90% of laptops should have absolutely no issue at all running a 30 millivolt undervolt. Is my anticipation, my guess. We're going to do a single run. Is the GPU in ultimate mode? Yeah, it is. GPU is in ultimate mode. Is this one of the best gaming laptops in the RTX 4090 for the money? Is it worth the difference between a 4080 and 4090? I don't know if it's the best for the money. This is a little bit of a more expensive 4090. Because you've got like the Aorus 17X that's cheaper than this for a 4090. You've got the SCAR 16 is cheaper than this for a 4090. So we got 31,522 for a single run. Let's run it again. And notice our boost clocks. Right now, they're all pushing 4.3 gigahertz approximately. Our power draw pull is 160 approximately. Our temps are 81, 87, 31,200. And we'll run one more single run, then we'll get a 10-minute run started, and I'll start answering questions. So these scores are excellent. Previous generation, like Intel 12th gen, was getting like around 20,000 was the upper end. So going up to over 31,000 is a like 55, 60% bump in performance compared to previous gen. It is because of the increased efficiency cores. Really boosting performance. So let's go and do a 10 minutes throttle test. Before we start that, I want to give it a second to cool down a moment. This laptop really doesn't need that because we're already down to 55 degrees on the CPU, 43 on the cores. So, I mean, it's pretty much good to go. All right, so let's see what we get for a 10-minute run with the undervolt. So for the last few minutes, we have been averaging right at 4 gigahertz. Our E cores are at 3.3 gigahertz. Our P cores are at 4 gigahertz pretty much. Our average core temp is 79 degrees, just like the Strix G18. Package temp at 85. These temps are all excellent. Our Package power averages have been 140 as expected. It's supposed to boost to like 175 for the first like minute or two, and then it's going to go down and throttle at 140 power limit. And this is a great power limit for great temperatures long term on this machine. All right, so we got max fans running right now. These are this is the optimal long term performance that you can expect from this machine, and it is excellent performance. This is going to be a great performer for basically any kind of CPU heavy loads. And if you just run everything at stock with a 30 millivolt undervolt, you can be confident that the temps are going to be great. You don't have to worry about checking anything. It's going to be easy, great for casual people. Not going to be great for someone who's like a maxer. You know, they want to get the maximum. And, you know, they could get 5-10% faster speeds by boosting the clock speeds and optimizing. You know, maybe they're using a laptop cooler and they're blowing tons of air in there. They're cranking down the AC and they want to get the most performance and set benchmark records. This laptop's not for that. But this laptop's still plenty fast and a great day-to-day performer. So in terms of CPU performance, let's see what we get on our 10-minute score. 29,890 for our 10-minute Cinebench run. Fantastic. Basically 30,000. 29.9. If you can just undervolt this a little more, raise the power limit higher, easily push probably 31, 32, maybe 34 even. Okay, yeah, so let's take a look. Let's analyze. All right, so we're pushing over 170 watts to the GPU. Our clock speeds are not that high. These would easily boost higher. We could score higher in Timespy if we overclock the GPU. For example, on the GT77, I was getting about 2400 megahertz on the RTX 4090. So that's a huge difference in boost clocks there. The temperatures were also excellent. Was that like upper 60s, lower 70s for the GPU and CPU? That's phenomenal. That is amazing temperatures. Okay, so our graphics score is 21,270 for manual fan mode. And I want to go over what I have set here. I already set this earlier before the live stream started, but we've got CPU on 140 watt for our PL1, 175 watt for our PL2. That's the short power limit and the long power limit. And then for our overclock on the GPU, we just got the default 50 megahertz on the base clock offset, and 100 megahertz on the memory. You could easily boost this further, okay? You could push this all the way, probably both of these all the way to max, no problem. And you'll see increases in performance by a few percentage points. We also have the GPU mode in ultimate mode, which basically disables the integrated GPU in the CPU. So allows for slightly better temperatures. And I want to note that the Strix G18, when we did the live benchmarking, it was not in the GPU ultimate mode. That's the one thing that I kind of wish I had changed, but just I want to make sure that it's clear with the benchmark. So that's what we got. If you switch it to turbo mode, the fans will be a little quieter, but the temperatures will also be a little higher. Okay, so that's an excellent Timespy score, both for the CPU and the GPU score. It is possible to get more. Like the GT77 that I tested the other night was 23,000 something. I think out of the box it was 22,000 something, but with a slight overclock it went to over 23,000. So there is some gains to be had with a higher power RTX 4090. But the CPU score is right up there. It's pretty great, 15,960. You could get higher too, again, with raising the power limit and a heftier undervolt. Anyway, so at the top here, 55 degrees Celsius, 57 on the CPU. For some reason, our overlay is messed up right now, but we're pulling about 174, 173 watts, 174, 174.7, 176 watts. Excellent overall temperatures and performance coming out of this SCAR 18. It's simply phenomenal. Okay, so we got 13,583 in Port Royale. So let's go ahead and put that benchmark result in. We're just going to do default settings for Crystal Diskmark and let it run. So you can see our SSD speeds right here. The read rate is 10,800 right now in HW info. That's insane. Especially for these are Gen 4 SSDs in RAID 0 is what we got going on this laptop. So know that the read speeds are going to be super fast because of the RAID 0. Okay, so we're almost done. Let's go over the results. We got 10.7K for the read. This progressively tests different sizes of file sizes, and these are phenomenal scores. Again, we're in RAID 0. We have two SSDs, Gen 4 and RAID 0. It's going to be phenomenal read and write out of the box on the SCAR 18. Total of 2 terabytes of SSD space on this guy. So single core score is 2842, multi-core score of 16935. Let's go and run the GPU bench, see what it gets. That's how it goes. All right, so we got 93,586 for our GPU score. All right. So we want no VSync. We're going to run DLSS. So for all the tests, we're going to do DLSS on quality, 16:10 QHD. And I want to point out frame generation. We're going to run frame generation on any games that we can run it on because I have yet to see any reason to not run it. I can run some of these games without frame generation as well. But that's what I believe is the best way to benchmark it because that's the way I think most gamers are going to benchmark it. And that's what I want to focus on. Let's do the benchmark. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that the built-in tool doesn't seem to be adding up the frame rates correctly. So we're going to be using our MSI Afterburner benchmark frame rate averages for this test. We're getting our averages. We're averaging 143. You can see that in Dying Light, they're saying that we're only averaging a little over 60, like 65 FPS, which is obviously not true. Yeah, something's messed up with the way they're calculating their frame rate. Probably not counting the frame generation frames or something. Our temps are excellent. They're not spiking up. We're pulling over 200 and something watts here between the two, like 230, 240. And we're getting 100% GPU utilization, 134 FPS, 131 FPS so far, 49 for our 1% lows. Like I said, I played this for about an hour this morning. And it was a great experience, even with frame generation on. But you can see our frame rate is averaging 135 with ray tracing on ultra, DLSS on quality. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a great experience, maxed out at QHD 16:10. So 138.45. So frame generation off. Okay, so there we have noticeably reduced frames. They're good. Okay, so confused. Like, why is the frame rate the same with and without frame generation? So, I mean, if you're paying attention when you're benchmarking, you'll notice something like this. Right now, we're only averaging 90 FPS. And we were, of course, averaging like 135 or something like that. So frame generation is giving us a big FPS boost in this game. How much stronger is the 4090 versus the 4080? Lurax, we're going to be basically seeing some of that performance today because we'll be doing some of the same benchmarks that I've been doing with the RTX 4080 and the Strix G18. So I would say expect to see some actual performance here. Right. So we got 96, 83. Wow, our 1% lows are extremely low or extremely high. That is excellent 1% lows, which is interesting. I want to see the very end of that benchmark, exact amount at the end there. It was 91. So 91.57 is what our 1% lows and everything was. So this is the area we're going to do our benchmark. I want to point out the insane wattage pull. We're doing 160 and 110. So pretty consistently pulling about 270 watts through this system right now. That is insane. Absolutely insane. Our CPU temp is also going above 90 now. This game is pulling this game and Hogwarts are pulling the craziest TDP pulls that I've ever seen in a game. But geez, look at that. The CPU temp is really, it's pushing it up there. So this has no frame generation, DLSS on quality, everything else on ultra right now. Lurax with the €1 donation. Thank you so much. Yeah. Do I notice any input lag with frame generation? Dogwood, yes. I do think there's a little bit of input lag with frame generation. But it would only be noticeable in a hyper-competitive shooter like... it would be noticeably worse in a hyper-competitive shooter like Apex Legends. Like, I would never use frame gen on Apex Legends, but I would use it on a game like Dying Light 2 because it's a single player. And it's more about... I would rather have a smoother, higher frame rate experience in Dying Light 2. So we got 112.58. It's on balanced. Okay, so we're going to do minimum DLSS on quality, 16:10. Like, that's the way probably I would do it. We would want motion blurs off. Woo! We killed an AFK person. Oh, crap. Okay. How do I load my G? Okay, we need to load in our plates. So very smooth gameplay, 164.
Activity has increased in the area. Keep your eyes open.
DMZ is packed with AI. Yeah, I figured these guys weren't real players the way they were running around. I should probably stay near my teammates, though. Is there something over here? I see a waypoint to something. I don't know what these, how this works with... This is the first time I've played this game. Uh-oh. So, it's very reminiscent of Warzone, the previous game. How does the keyboard feel? Vents next to hand mouse. The keyboard feels amazing. There's no heat at all on the keyboard. Wow, people are so durable in this game. Really got to focus on the headshots. Okay, well, this works really well. We're basically, I think we're CPU bound in this game. Notice how high our CPU wattage is at 130 and 5.1 gigahertz. Very high CPU temps, but our frame rates are fantastic. Our 1% lows are really, really great. So if you're looking for a great Warzone 2 laptop, this should be a really good one. Okay, so we're doing ultra preset, render scaling to 100%, desired frame rate, we're just maxing it out to 600, 16 by 10. Oh shit, we got Genji going after us. Who is this? I don't know these. I'm gonna die a lot. I'm like, I don't know these characters. I don't think I should be hitting that guy. Oh yeah, I can right click to do rockets, that's right. I really need to heal. Ooh, wow, you gotta watch out for that guy. Ooh, did we get a kill? That guy was so close to dying. I'm probably not going to get any kills until I get my ultimate. I can do like double damage, I think, with Soldier 76. Any coil line? I talked about this several times in the streams so far. I have not noticed much. Minor coil line. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we killed one! Yeah, finally someone died. Jeez, no one dies in this game. It's crazy. I keep dying. I'm the only one dying in this game. So we're averaging 250 FPS. 146 for our 1% lows. Very good performance for everything on ultimate performance settings. Okay, the CPU on this is very hot. This is another CPU bound game. So, I mean, this would be a great experience. I love that we're getting over 240 FPS on average. Our 1% lows aren't quite there, but it's basically perfect performance. Okay, so we're doing QHD. And as you can see, we're on full screen QHD plus. Let's go ahead and run the benchmark. So this is with frame generation on, I believe. Okay, so the Strix G18 got 102, and the Alienware M16 got 101 in this test. So we'll have to see what we get with the Scar 18. Notice our insane draw here. We're pulling like 260, 270 watts. In CPU-centric games, it's absolutely crazy the amount of watts we're pulling in laptops like this. And it shows you how important it is to have a high-power CPU in your gaming laptop. There are several games so far today that have been like that. So we got 116.25, and so compared to 101 on the Alienware M16 and 102 on the Strix G18, that's a 14 FPS gain, and right around 13%, 13 or 14% increase for this over the Strix G18. So no frame generation. All the other settings are exactly the same. We'll let it go. So as you can see, frame generation really gives us a lot of FPS in this game. So is the 4090 even worth the price jump from a 4080? That's a very personal choice. If you've got a budget, I would say stick to the 4080. If you've got the extra money, the 4090 is going to probably be worth it because of the increased VRAM. Okay, so we got 68.52 with no frame generation. In general, I think the jump from a 4080 to 4090 from the Strix G18 to the 4090 on the Scar is not a huge one, and it's not that important. But the VRAM upgrade from 12 to 16 gigs is more important, and I think you're going to have less bottlenecking and more future-proofing. I just want to go full screen, 16 by 10, VSync off. We're going to raise the max cap FPS to unlimited. As you guys know, we're going to set everything to low, which is what players are going to actually want to play at. And then we'll probably do DLSS on quality, and we want textures on epic. That's fine. Okay, so we're doing 260 right here at the start of the open world environment. Okay, so we got our average going up here now. In Fortnite, we're doing 120 watts on the CPU, 125. Wow. Let's go land on that island. Let's go. Fortnite no build mode is the best. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. So we are getting some 1% low stutters, especially as we load into the map area. Averaging 252 FPS so far. Yeah, we caught something. What did we get? A shield fish. What else can we get? Can we get a gun out of this? I think we can get a gun, right? Woo, we got a gun. All right, so let's go kill someone now. All right, where? Oh, we got someone. Let's go. We got the fish. We fished him. We fished a gun just in time. Oh, we got someone else. Oh my goodness. Let me turn on the sound. Let me see if I can hear directional. Okay, I think he's coming from the right. Yeah, I can kind of hear directional audio. Let's go! Oh, crap. No! So, looks like we averaged 291. Okay? 291.55 for our FPS average. So, Fortnite is obviously going to run really well. A game like Fortnite, Overwatch, Apex Legends, oftentimes they're just bottlenecked by the CPU's raw performance in single or dual core loads. They're not multi-threaded enabled very well. And it's just all about how much wattage you can put through it, how efficiently it can run, what the overall clock speed is that you can put it up to. And then also your memory speed can sometimes impact performance in CPU-bound games. It depends on the game if it's memory sensitive or not. So yeah, basically what you want is the highest end CPU you can get, or at least a very high end one that can go to a high clock speed and then fast memory and a high TDP on that CPU when under a dual load. So this ran really, really great, you know, pushing over 125 watts to the CPU to push out consistent high end frames. The 1% low wasn't amazing, but it wasn't very stuttery for me. It played very smoothly. All right, so we're on ultra settings, ray tracing on, DLSS on quality. Let's see what we get. Then the water-cooled XMG Neo will probably be the quietest, highest performance, but pretty much all gaming laptops can at least go to a moderately quiet or almost silent mode and still play games at a high frame rate, but you are going to sacrifice performance every time you do that, pretty much, except for the water-cooled one where you have just a little bit of fan noise. And it's so we got 86 FPS average with 63% for our 1% low. That's pretty good. Let's do one more test with no ray tracing and no DLSS. Just everything on ultra. So just to clarify one more time, this is everything on ultra, no DLSS, no frame generation. There's no frame generation in this game, and no ray tracing either. What's the TGP of this laptop? 175. But under a dual load like this, notice that we're pulling like, whoa, 285 right there. But typically under a dual load like this, we're going to be doing more like 160, 150 on the GPU and a high amount of wattage on the CPU, basically. All right, so average FPS is 102. Minimum is 28. Do the red temperatures and thermal throttling warnings and HW info bother you? Is that completely normal and nothing to be worried about? Those don't really bother me that much. Unless they're causing stutters, because sometimes when CPUs thermal throttle, it can cause 1% lows to be really struggling. That would be my biggest response to that, is focusing on the 1% low stutters. CPUs are designed to go all the way up to 99 degrees Celsius without damaging them. I just prefer to keep them more in like the 80s, mid 80s, you know, under 90. But it depends, because sometimes it doesn't really work out that way anyway. If budget wasn't a concern, which laptop would you get? Probably the GT77. Probably is what I would go for. 2K is used as a shorthand for 2560 monitor resolution. I would say 2K to me is more 2000 by 1080p. I would say 2.5K is what I would say is QHD. 97.59 FPS. Always on ultra. Everything's gonna be on ultra. And we're going to do DLSS on quality, okay? Okay, we're running through. Let's see what we get. 4070 is going to run out of VRAM. That entirely depends on the game. Like this God of War is only pulling 6.8 gigs, so you wouldn't run out of VRAM in this game. But you're a lot more likely to run out of VRAM, especially at QHD resolution. It's going to happen more often. Okay, so we got 116.53. So no DLSS now. Notice our GPU pull is like pretty much consistently like over 170. Oh, I was until I said that. And now it's dropping down. It was over 170 for a while there though. All right, so we got 9541. We are in full screen. Everything's set to high as it should be. 16 by 10. Let's go. So we're in the 500s, 600s on our FPS. Okay, if you don't plan on playing AAA video games on ultra settings, then what other possible reasons would you need an RTX 4080 or higher? So other reasons would be like 3D rendering or modeling, video editing. The 4080 and 4090 can help boost video render times dramatically in programs like DaVinci Resolve. Potentially like crypto mining. Probably not for most people though. And then, I don't know, what other reasons would you want it? If you're a game developer, this FPS is like the 4080? Correct, because we're being CPU bottlenecked, basically. So there's almost no, if you just play CSGO, there's no point in getting an RTX 4090. Okay, so we got 513 at QHD. DLSS on quality. Frame generation is enabled. We do have RTX enabled. Here we go. We're going to run through Hogsmeade. This is the most CPU demanding area in the game that I've found. Wow, that was a big stutter. This is a game that has a ton of textures. Look, we're already pushing 13 gigs of textures. And yeah. It's pretty crazy. I wonder, are we even being VRAM limited right now? Let's try turning our textures on low. Let's try running that again and seeing if our 1% lows are a lot better, or if we're still going to get them. Because there's other game optimizations that might cause stuttering that we need to keep in mind. These temps are insane. They are. I think they're really good given how much wattage is being pulled through the system. That's what I would say. Let's try this again and see what our 1% lows are. Now that we have textures down lower. Notice our VRAM right now is at 9 gigs up here instead of 13. You want to buffer before running out of VRAM space because it can otherwise, really, you're starting to run out of VRAM as you get close to the 16 gigs. Not at 16, like a couple gigs before that. So we may have been running out of VRAM. Yeah, our 1% lows are so much better. 37 now. Okay, so we got 9337. So I think this is going to be my official benchmark for Hogwarts because it's not pushing as high a CPU. There's so many NPCs in Hogsmeade that it's a bit unrealistic. I think this is going to be a better representation of the performance in most of the game. It only lag spikes in texture games? No, it just depends on the game. And that's also a dev optimization issue. Like I don't think there's any excuse for them not having better texture management in this game. Okay, so we got 112. 10. Okay, so DLSS on quality, frame generation enabled, ray tracing disabled. Okay, so here we are. We're doing 180 so far. Our 1% low has been excellent now that ray tracing is off. Wonderful to have any stutters going in here. Nope. Oh, we had stutters right as we got up to the stairs. Okay, so 172.15. So this is basically DLSS on quality. Full screen, high, everything is on set to maximum except for DLSS on quality. I don't believe there's frame generation in this game. So let's go ahead and continue. Here we are, we're in control. I'm gonna go ahead and just run through some areas here. Funky, fresh game. All right, I'm gonna reset it here. All right, so we're going to record whatever FPS we get. I'm just going to run. So this is toward the beginning of the map, I believe. We're going to run from these doors outward. So we'll run back all the way to that other room. Our 1% lows are not great. All right, and we'll stop right here. 125.42. Next up is Elden Ring. We're going to see if we can get max settings. All right, so to verify our settings, we need to up our resolution. 2560, and everything is set to high. Oh, okay, we can do maximum. We want maximum settings, 2560 by 1600. We'll go out, run out here. Notice how look at we're barely using the GPU in this game. This game is so dang easy. It is so dang easy to run. Our combined workload at maximum settings is 110 watts. The drops are lower. I wish that's one of the reasons why I wish we could go to like high FPS. So our 1% lows would be better. But all right, we should be able to die to this guy real easy. How do you dodge again? Is it space? Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Ha! The G18 is being sold for double the retail value almost? That is crazy.
Uh-oh.
Let's see what damage we can do to this guy, and that'll be our Elden Ring test. Fighting this guy. Okay, you got me. So yeah, rock solid, can run Elden Ring perfectly. No problem at all. All right, so to start with, we are in a max settings. VSync disabled, video reflex on, full screen. Let's hop into firing range. Interesting. So I'm curious. Oh, I gotta change some settings here. Hold on. This is a game where you could definitely set. So this is everything on high. Everything's on high right now, and you could definitely play this game on high settings. But I think the way I play this game, you know, being a competitive player, I would play it on everything on low except textures. So that's the way we're going to do the test. Let's just go ahead and do the test on low settings. And actually, we're going to do it anti-aliasing enabled, everything else on low. Apply. The 3060 is good though. All right, so here we go. On low, let's do the test. I can't quite move my mouse far enough. Wow, we're just hitting our 300 FPS cap non-stop right now with this laptop. That is awesome. Beautiful. Okay. Excellent. Incredible result. Just non-stop 300 FPS in this firing range. That's great. We are GPU bound right now. I want to point that out. We're at 98% GPU utilization, 97. So that's interesting. Got some people landing over here. We might die to these people. Probably will die to these people. Quickly. Oh crap, we got people landing. Oh, I'm not. Okay, so I'm going to die quick here because I don't have a gun. He doesn't have a gun either. None of us have guns. How lolsy is that? We're just running around. Wow, our FPS is 280 though. That's amazing. I'm really impressed with the Apex Legends performance on this laptop. Though I need to test the Strix G18 and M16 with these exact settings and see what they get. Okay, nice. Wow, 287, 148, incredible. Incredible performance. Okay, so QHD, DLSS on quality. Wow, there's frame generation in this game. I didn't realize there's frame generation. We're definitely going to be using frame generation. And we want everything set to ultra. Here we are, all right? Wow. Holy crap. 120 frames per second in Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you are a VR enthusiast and you want to play Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think having an RTX 4000 series is going to be a must-have because the frame rate is so much higher than we've ever seen before. Frame generation and DLSS on quality is so much higher. It's unbelievable. Like, that's crazy. All right. And then we're going to press P to release parking brake. And then we just let it go. And this is our benchmark. Now that we're moving, we set the benchmark to test it. All right. And there you go. Starting to go down. So we got 110.67. Holy crap. I have to look up what we got in the past with RTX 3080s, but that is an enormous gain. I think it's more than double anything we've ever seen before. Or somewhere in that range. Because this game is oddly CPU bound, and frame generation basically lets us bypass that CPU bottleneck to generate crazy better frames. Oh, frame generation. DLSS frame generation. Right. Okay, yes, there is, of course. I don't know why. I thought this had it. Okay, I was misreading it. DLSS frame generation is on. Okay, so we have DLSS on quality, frame generation on, 2560, 1600p, ray tracing on ultra. Let's see what we get. And we're running. So 95 FPS. We're diving. We're climbing. We're swimming. Beautiful. Sweet. So I'm going to try to compare this versus what we got in the Strix G18 here. I'm really curious what we got. Shabam. So 106.37. Looking at this performance, it looks like the Strix G18 got 93 FPS. The Alienware M16 got 98. And we got 106. So it would be like 93 versus 106 if you were to compare the G18 versus the Scar 18. So that is a 23 FPS gain. We'll do one with no ray tracing, no DLSS, but we'll do TAA. And display, we're going to turn off frame generation. Okay, so here we go. The raw game mount now, no DLSS, no ray tracing, no frame generation. Let's see what we get at QHD 16:10. Looks like it's going to be about mid-80s here. All right, so we got 88.37. I'm not even going to record that on the benchmark live stream, but still, pretty interesting to see. Excellent performance in Witcher 3. So our standard for this is going to be, again, DLSS on quality. We're going to do highest graphics settings. And we're going to do ray tracing on ultra. Okay, so QHD, DLSS on quality, highest graphics settings with ray tracing enabled. Let's see what we get. Ports still in the back. I didn't think that it had the ports in the back. I thought it was based on the Zephyrus S17 design. Let me check. Yeah, it does have last year's design. Interesting. Yep. Well, I mean, it was still a good laptop, but obviously that might hurt performance, though. Mitchell Hill says, are you going to get the Blade 16 4090? Interested in the new mini LED display. So I have seen the Blade 14 4090 in person, and it's great. I personally probably would recommend actually just going for the QHD 240 Hz display, probably, unless you really want 4K. But I'm more of a QHD 240 Hz. I'm planning to upgrade my old laptop. Which brand is the best? There's a lot of great brands, and a lot of them have great laptops. I don't think there's any one best brand, but there's probably one best laptop for you. So it depends on what your needs are, the pros and cons surrounding all of them. All right, our average FPS with ray tracing on ultra, DLSS on quality, QHD 16:10, 151. Bingo. So that's fantastic performance. And if we turned off ray tracing, turned off DLSS, I'm sure we'd be pushing over 200. And everything else should be at ultra, yep. Full screen, native, 240 Hz QHD. That should be good. Let's test the benchmark. Mitchell says, how loud would you say the Scar is right now? I'm guessing around 55 to 56 decibels for the fan noise. That's my estimate. You can, that's on max fans though. You can definitely play this at more like 52 to 53 decibels. Will still get you close to the maximum performance. I don't know why this FPS was so high there. The average was so high. This is the average to look at right here for Far Cry 5. I'm tempted to redo it because that messed it up. So we're at 153, but let's run it one more time. Okay, so we got 150 with 106. Okay, on to Valorant. Full screen, 16:10. We're going to do ultra settings. We want no limit, and No limit. Graphics qualities will set everything to ultra. No VSync. I think everything's going to be set good already. Okay, so looking at our FPS, we're doing 427. We're averaging over 400 so far. Pretty crazy FPS. Got one. We'll get a headshot spree going here. There we go. Oh, someone shot us from behind. Wow, our average FPS is 420 right now. It's 420, y'all. Woo! FPS. You literally could use a 1080p 400 hertz screen, 480 hertz screen with this game and still see the more FPS. That's awesome. So for esports players that play Valorant full time, that Alienware M18 or M16 with a 480 hertz screen that's legit. Notice our GPU utilization is only 60%, so we are CPU bound right now. Oh, it got us. The FPS in this is absolutely insane. It's just like CS:GO pretty much on the FPS side of things. So I think that's a good enough demonstration of the FPS in this. Let's go ahead and hop over to League. All right, so we're hitting our 240 FPS max as anticipated, but let's see. Can I change the settings? Anyway, so we'll just mess with the settings and we'll benchmark it. We'll run around. I won't be able to play the game very well. Right now, everything's on medium. I'd like to change the settings. We don't want to be getting flagged for AFK. We're trying to set everything to very high. Uncapped. Okay. There you go. All right, so our average FPS is 580. Jeez. So we'll go to where the lanes are fighting, and this should give us a better idea of, at least in the ballpark of FPS. Probably got to kill these wizards. Bro, what? Yeah, no, you're going to be able to just, yeah, you'll be good. You'll be able to play this game just fine. I can't level up any of my abilities. Oh, God. All right, so there's your FPS, guys, for League of Legends. I hope you enjoyed it. Overview, summary, SCAR 18 benchmarks. Absolutely insane. This laptop is pushing crazy high FPS in basically every title. It's not the maximum performance. We saw excellent CPU and GPU temps in almost every game except for some CPU-bound games. Some of the CPU-bound games were just like not... I guess too demanding? Not too demanding, but like, let me rephrase that. So when you have a CPU-bound game that's a heavy CPU and GPU dual load, like in Hogwarts or maybe Overwatch or Fortnite, you know, we're pulling 120 watts of power to the CPU, which means that we're gonna struggle pushing out all of the heat on both the CPU and GPU combined together. And the CPU ends up getting like over 90 degrees, 95. We even saw almost some peaks right up to the 100 point. So it makes me wish we could undervolt the CPU even further and potentially even raise the like, it's not the power cap, but at least undervolting the CPU would help our CPU temps there and give us a little more performance in those CPU-bound games. Overall, though, the performance was fantastic. No issues except for driver issues in games like Rainbow Six Siege. Still can't benchmark that game, unfortunately. The summary of let me switch back over to this mode so we can see all the FPS. Apex Legends on low, we were getting basically nonstop 300 FPS. Hold on. Excellent hard drive speeds and scores with Crystal Diskmark pulling some pretty insane levels of, I'm super impressed with the performance level. It's hard not to be. Now, this is not going to be the highest level of performance we're going to see out of a gaming laptop this year. I'm confident we'll see higher levels of frame rates from the GT77 and maybe potentially from like the XMG Neo 1617. But okay, that's it for the summary. Basically, that I'm just going to have to compile all this information and put it into a review format. I've already filmed the B-roll for it. So expect the SCAR 18 review, full detailed review coming up probably in later this week. See you guys later. Peace out.